Hello, Barry. Walter here with Mess from Nations. Moenietsi etolia chawaki turietiemu ase. Today is about consciousness, and consciousness is probably one of the hardest concepts in a lot of way to understand because there's more and there's so many logistics to it of us from form all the way to the aspects of the way the soul functions and moves. So consciousness is a very hard program, but every so often I come across different things that help me learn about what the consciousness can do, and this is just basically an aspect of what it is, and that's what they want me to share with you. Is if you think about different types of consciousness, so anywhere from the rock on the in the ground to the animals to us in a sense of consciousness, there are different types. And we have, as far as humans, have our own consciousness. We have a consciousness that works with our soul in a dimensional sense. And so it runs on many different legs, but it is really more of a consciousness of our soul in a lot of ways. But what about animals? And so animals, they run on a group consciousness, and a group consciousness meaning they they run as one. The energy is continuous. They don't really look at it as their own soul, their own mind, their own way. They work as a team. And if you look at a herd of deer, they run together and they eat together and they watch out for danger together. And when one gets eaten by the lion, so to speak, that consciousness, they know that that's part of the program. It's part of the program that that consciousness comes back. So it's like a group consciousness. And that goes with a lot of animals in that sense have that group consciousness. Might have different personalities in a sense and so on, but it really is limited to a degree of consciousness, and it has a lot to do with the way the world has to function. The simple thing of flowers, how they pollinate and this and that, same idea. They do, each one has a separate consciousness. Really, they have a group consciousness. Let's pollinate. If one of us get run over and the seeds get pushed all over, and then we get 50 flowers instead of the one because he got run over by the car or whatever happened to him. That's just part of the way the nature runs. But the point of it is, does it intermingle? And that's what it does intermingle. So we can, as a human consciousness, can mingle into these consciousnesses. So not only seeing in a sense of mediumship and seeing other people and seeing the dead people or ghosts or all that type of thing, you can move into an animal consciousness. You can feel what that animal consciousness is, and it will blend with our consciousness in a sense of understanding and in a sense of bonding, and that's why sometimes some animals you bond to such a degree, it's better than a human bond because it's so interdimensional maybe with the consciousness of the type. So you move into their conscious, you understand their conscious, they understand you, and there becomes a super bond, and you love that animal, whatever that may be. So it does work like that. And I never thought it would. And I always thought it was more separate, even though you can have that bond. It's more of a bond in a sense of a friendship instead of a bond of a conscious relation or a handshake. And because of where we're moving to, in a sense of evolving in a human race and human consciousness and all that good stuff, we are now learning how to merge with these things much cleaner. And there was always people who could do it better than others, but we're moving in a group sense to understand what that rock feels like, the consciousness of the rock, or crystals for that matter, how it feels, what it does. And now we are learning to understand to how it heals us and all this stuff, but we have to merge with it. If we just held a crystal and you never believed in any properties of it, other than that, it just looks nice and it's just an ornament that sits on your table, so to speak, does it do you any good? And in if I was asking the crystal, it would say it would always try to do its good. But if you're asking your consciousness and not allowing that in, as far as that beautiful crystal healing you, whatever may whatever which may one it may be, you have to allow it. So our consciousness has to open up to it. And that takes me back to the theory of healing and then that type of thing of when I do healings on people, you have to allow it. You have to, the consciousness has to allow it. If I do a healing on them and they put their hands up and they're like, nah, I don't know if I believe this guy's losing it or he's nuts. They do not, the body won't allow it. The consciousness is much stronger than in the will. And even people who say they want it, and if the consciousness or the belief system doesn't allow it, this doesn't work either. So there's lots of different ends to the way the consciousness moves in a sense. And I'm just talking on a very basic sense. It moves in so many different dimensions and so many different frequencies and understandings in sense of where and what it moves and what it knows. And that's connecting through to the soul of the soul purpose of what that body or being needs. And these things all branch together, and then they branch together with the consciousness of all the surroundings of whatever it may be, right down to the planet, to the blade of grass. All these things are in line in a beautiful matrix of time. And when they show me that stuff, and when I'm sit in meditation and they explain this stuff, it is almost more than the brain can handle. I'm more or less in awe, going, how does that fit with that? And I missed that, and I'm trying to catch what they're trying to say to me, and I get a fraction of what it is because it's just so overwhelming with knowledge and ideas and movements and frequencies and whatever, more of any other different thing. And it's what the gift of everything is, to learn how to isolate and see one at a time. When you see your little dog sitting with you and he sits down, or mine making a bunch of noise at the consciousness of what they feel. And when you allow yourself to move in with that, the animal will bond to you truly, not even knowing what it is. And it goes just the same to a blade of grass. You pick up a blade of grass and you allow that consciousness to feel what that blade of grass feels like. And really it feels more, and I've done that, it feels like just a flow of air, and how it loves the way the earth feeds it and the wind blows, and it just goes into its own little thing. It doesn't worry about paying any bills or any getting eaten or getting stepped on. It doesn't care about any of that. It's just beautiful, enjoying the sun, and like it's just so. How does that work, right? You have, if you practice, I'm telling you, it's unbelievably eye-opening of the different types of consciousness and the way it works. Open the mind will allow you to see what you need to see.